Happy Sunday, everybody. How's it going? We're here. I need to update this description. Sorry. We're here. We're back with more My Hero. It's been a long 2 weeks. I will say it has been a long 2 weeks. I've been fiending. I've been itching. I need a fix of some good My Hero goodness. Hey, everybody, how's it going? Yeah, I'm doing better. What's up, Aka? Doing better with not getting spoiled. I had that rough patch back in December where it was just like spoiler heaven, but since then it's been good. So I have no idea what we're getting into. Not a bit. Hopefully everyone's having a good Sunday. Hopefully everyone's weekends and weeks and everything's going well for you. I'm not gonna waste any time, Just about to pull this up. 340. All right, that's right. We're leaving off with the other plan. It's the other war, the other fighting that's gonna happen that All Might said. So hold on. Here we go. Wait. Let me get some water. Car got stuck in snow for 45 minutes. Other than that, it's been a good day. Oh, that snow. I drove to Pennsylvania yesterday, and only because we were supposed to go tomorrow, but then we were like, yeah, it's gonna be a huge snowstorm tonight, and I was like, so we decided to go yesterday, and it just signs everywhere like winter storm. I'd have no time for the snow. Let me know if the sync is okay. We look a little stuttery in my capture window, but let me know if we're good. I'm over the snow. I want to get away from the snow. All right. Deep breath. Let's go. Central Hospital to collaborate in secret with this key facility. Funny thing about the South, apparently street sweepers aren't a thing. No, they aren't. It wasn't until like, I want to say, because I had a friend that was in North Carolina, they didn't even have salt to salt the road. So it like, there was like an inch, what we consider a dusting up here, and people were crashing. It was crazy. So they don't have them. They're not prepared. Like when that snowstorm hit Texas last year, it was abysmal because they had nothing. They couldn't do anything. It was they literally could not do a thing. They were not prepared. It's terrible. All right. Several police stations have moved their bases of operations nearby. Gotcha. No episode title yet. Okay. Or chapter title yet. My eyes fail me. Hold on. Zoom in. League of Villains / Paranormal Liberation Front Counterforce Headquarters. Okay. We're awaiting Aoyama's exam results. Ooh, look at this panel. Zoom in. I see thick on the left. Sorry. This business with Aoyama. We've deemed each of you here to be trustworthy based on certain factors regarding your situations and actions. So we got Hawks, we got All Might. I always forget that even though All Might isn't All Might is still tall as heck. He's still like 6 something. Even though like the perspective, like his height it varies a little bit. Tsukauchi, we have I never can remember her name. Oh gosh. They'll tell us in a second. All right. This business with Aoyama means we'll be forced to take decisive action all at once. We've deemed each of you here to be trustworthy based on certain factors regarding your situations and actions. So we're ready to move ahead with this conversation. Endeavor, Genus, and other big heroes are in command out in the field at the moment. And since this classified meeting had to be thrown together in a hurry, we're keeping our circle nice and small. Safety first and all. Okay, Ragdoll, thank you. I never remember her name. Taking every precaution Ball doll, pussycats, ragdoll. But still, come on. I sure wish Ryuko and the gang could be here. Yeah, I'm not doing this. I'm not meowing when she meows. I'm not doing this. Sorry about that. It's not like we doubt their loyalty or anything. Yeah. Oh, goodness. They're out using my search quirk for evil. I'm not meowing. So I'm here to help however I can. Let's hear the key points of this plan. Look at All Might. All right. Zoom it in. Look at All Might. I just realized this is Shigaraki. And that's... I just realized that this is Shigaraki. What? That's Shigaraki, and that's All for One. Whether we're talking about Plan A or Plan B, what we have to do no matter what is split them up. Gotcha. He's very enthusiastic. He's into this. Based on the data recorded during Star and Stripes battle, Tamura Shigaraki is now far more powerful than ever. Whoa. Tamura Shigaraki is now far more powerful than even All for One. And everyone who witnessed the fight in Kamino has a decent idea of All for One's strength. Yep. Also, what's up, Madman? So you mean to tell me that in the middle of this national crisis, someone had enough time to make a customized... Yes! Also, they have that mind meld that they exploited when attacking Tartarus. This goes beyond just the communication via radio waves, but it's not clear to what extent they actually share thoughts with each other. It's radius. In a sense, yeah, I thought I was having an epiphany. I mentioned this already before, where it's similar to All Might and how he can sync back up with One for All when he's close to Deku. Like the information shared syncs up. Should they attack together, we have no hope of victory. I'm glad that's very clear. Then why didn't they double team Star? She could have spoken his name All for One, meaning New Order's rules would have worked on him, I think. To win this war, we need to get those two at least 10 kilometers apart. That's the bare minimum requirement. How are we going to manage that? How are you going to manage to get them that far away from each other? You give them something that they want. All right. I'm not reading ahead. I'm having a thought. The way that you can get All for One to separate from Shiggy, is you give both parties something that they both want. That's still far. Yeah, it's 10 kilometers, six and a quarter miles. Thank you. That's still far. You need to give All for One something that he desperately wants, that he'll doggedly pursue, that he would pursue himself. And you have to give Shigaraki something that would make him act out on his own. I don't know what those could be. Deku is involved in this, absolutely. But the thing is, would All for One be desperate in getting Deku, or would Shigaraki be desperate? Which one is which? I feel like you bait All for One with Deku, and then you dangle something else in front of Shigaraki. I don't know. All right, let me continue. All right. Of course, they'll do everything they can to make sure that won't happen. That's right, Sukauchi. For Shiggy, it would be All Might. You think so? I'm not sure. That far-spreading, all-consuming fire. If anything, you might. I was thinking because of the Star fight, how it still pisses All for One off. That All Might has had such an influence on all the bad things that's been happening. You might be able to dangle All Might in front of All for One, because he told Deku that he doesn't care about All Might anymore. But the star fight proves that All Might will forever be a thorn in his side. I did that on purpose. So you might, because you might could throw All For One off with dangling All Might in front of him, because All For One might get to the point where if I get rid of All Might, there is a possibility that he won't be able to influence more individuals or influence more things to happen that can impede me. So if we could get rid of him, we might be able to move forward. That's a possibility. It's very rough. I could easily have that changed. I don't know. But that's just something I'm thinking, if we could have Shiggy and Deku go off somewhere else and use All Might against All For One. Who knows? That far-spreading, all-consuming fire. All Might is really good at this. That's Dabi. And the terror it instills. It is a threat we became aware of through the attack on the kids' training camp. Yes, we'll be stonewalled so long as Dabi joins their vanguard. Yep. That's a fire panel of them, even in that top left corner. Zoom in, please. So splitting up All For One and Shigaraki means getting Dabi out of the way too. Not just Dabi. Exactly. She's very enthusiastic. All of them. Every one of the enemy's major operatives. We must divide and conquer one by one. To that end, we have to lure each of these villains to their defeat. We talked about this. At the end of one of these streams, we mentioned, and we've for the longest, we've been trying to figure out who would fight who. And I think it's clear, like, we know the individuals that will fight the individuals, but it would have to be enticing enough to get that person to act out of character in a sense, or to play into their hands. That's why you dangle Endeavor and Shoto in front of Dabi. He's going. He wouldn't care what's going on. He would go. You got Toga here. Yeah, Q anime 1v1 battles for the final arc. Absolutely. You have Sue and Ochiko, and you have Toga's attention because Toga still has like unresolved issues from what Ochiko said in their last encounter. You got her. Now the whole thing is Spinner is loyal to Shigaraki. How do you get rid of Spinner? I feel like, and so far I'm only thinking about like class 1A. There's other heroes that could participate in this as well. But you gotta deal with Spinner somehow, some way. Deku clearly Shigaraki. I think it's a possibility where I mentioned this. Goodness gracious, I don't know when I mentioned this, but it was nice outside. And I think Bakugo, you have Bakugo go up against All For One. Bakugo in a team, All Might and Bakugo together. But I do feel like that is something that could happen because All For One is the one that ordered Bakugo to be taken. I'm pretty sure he's the one that ordered Bakugo to be taken. So there's something that's there. Whether or not All For One would bite on that, I don't think he'd just bite on Bakugo. But I feel like a Bakugo with an All Might there, and if Bakugo is actually somewhat formidable in a sense, there's definitely a possibility you could get All For One to bite on that. Stain as well. Ooh, you reminded me. Stain is still at play. I could see him confronting Spinner sometime soon. Yes. Because he's one of his disciples. So he could definitely speak some truth to Spinner. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Excuse me. Every one of the enemy's major operatives. I'm going to reread this and I'm going to continue. We must divide and conquer one by one. To that end, we have to lure each of these villains to their defeat. Excuse me. Oh, is that all? Pretty optimistic thinking. Yeah, what's up about Husbando? Yeah, the Bakugo kidnapping, yeah. That's the connection I can bring with Bakugo. Wanting to go head to head with All For One a little bit. Easier said than done. Fair enough, which is why we need a strategy to make that happen. You mean Aoyama? This is where I'm like the most skeptical. How In what way are we going to use Aoyama and our benefit to be able to lure and get these people off their guard? The boy is still in turmoil. Born quirkless, his very life was exploited as a resource. I sympathize, but we're weighing our own feelings against the fate of the world. And the fact remains that he turned his back on decent society. Based on my position, I have no choice but to proceed with caution. Thank you, Tsukauchi. But All Might's going to talk no jutsu into agreeing into his plan, pretty sure. I choose to have faith in young Aoyama. I want to trust him, but I do trust his teacher, Shota Aizawa. All right. More and more, Aizawa looks more and more like Big Boss, doesn't he? More and more. After a full exam, we found no irregularities. Brain waves were normal too. So Lady Nagant's fate was courtesy of something All For One obtained after his grand defeat by All Might. Okay. In retrospect, if he'd really planted an explosive ability in the boy that would trigger in the event of betrayal, then why murder that other peon as a lesson? Why threaten the family with death for lying to him? Why leave anything to the imagination? The only thing All For One planted was a seed of fear inside the boy and his parents. Are you scared? Shaking. Freaking shaking. All right. You won't find many friends in life that'll stick up for you like that. What do you fear? All For One himself? That's my cursor. There it is. Yes. I'm also scared that I can never sparkle and shine as they do. The more they express their faith in me, the more I lose faith in myself. Even if I can take the hand they offer, if I find myself face to face with All For One, who's to say I wouldn't make the same terrible choice all over again? That is what I fear. That's what we've been saying. I know that's what I've been saying in particular. It's like you could tell me whatever you want to. Like if you're in this Aoyama situation with All For One telling you, if you betray me, I'm killing you and your family. Like you could assure me everything. You could reassure me. You could do X, Y, and Z. But if the chance ever happens, if this encounter ever happens again, and I do end up coming face to face with this man, what's to stop him? Like, what's gonna stop him from actually doing the things that he told me he was gonna do to me? Like, we have the luxury of thinking about exploding brains because of Nagant and all this other stuff. But with Aoyama, it's like, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? We go on a mission and all of a sudden I get ambushed and I get taken and he takes me back and he's got my family. Then what? Because you told me I'm gonna be fine, I should resist him as he murders my family in front of me? No way. No way. No way. So it's like even him saying that, I'm on the same mindset. Because because this is a shonen series and everything, Aoyama's gonna get used forever for whatever purpose. We'll see how it goes if we end up liking it or not. But he's gonna end up coming around. But realistically, I wouldn't be dealing with this kid until after this whole thing is done. I wouldn't be dealing with this kid until we've resolved this entire situation. We can bring this all back up after the fact, because if we are able to deal with All For One and Shigaraki, if we're actually able to deal with them and eliminate them, then the fear of someone coming in, stepping in and killing him and his family would be alleviated. And then we could begin the recovery process on his mental state. That's for me. For me, that makes the most sense. But he's plot now, and we're gonna need to use him. So I'm like prepping myself for Aizawa's to say something to him that'll get him to change his mind or something, or to agree in this plan that they're coming up with. All right, here we go. I want to leave it all behind, to find some dark corner of the world untouched by light, where I can wait for death to take me. Nothing more. All right. You may be given leniency, but your sins will be with you forever. Aoyama, once this war is over, you may no longer have a home at UA. Those friends of yours like to sugarcoat things, but I'll tell it to you straight. Y'all know how I stand on this. Yeah, I know how you stand on it, and I don't necessarily know if you get what I mean by what I say. We don't have the time to deal with him right now. We deal with him later. I'm not throwing him away just because we don't have the time to deal with this. All for One's about to literally destroy Japan and take over the world, quite possibly. Yes, Aoyama, you are my friend. Yes, I feel bad that you betrayed us. But if I have to choose to deal between All for One or deal with trying to save you currently, I'm going to pick him. And when we resolve him, which is the reason why you're this way, after we deal with this, we then can come together, and I already sympathize with how you feel, and we can come together and close because the overarching and looming darkness is not there anymore. Now we just have to work through your traumas. The boogeyman's not going to come get you once we deal with the boogeyman. How can we deal with Aoyama's traumas when the boogeyman is still there and can still punish him for what he's doing? Like, All for One, like if you try to work with Aoyama and try to save him and this with All for One still being alive, you're gonna have this man work through his traumas only to have his life shattered. Yeah, it's like, you would work this boy through his traumas only to end up in a situation where he could run into All for One again, and all the good progress that you made and the saving that you did for him amounts to nothing. Why not eliminate the issue, All for One, and then all this progress that we can make in his traumas and saving him and bringing him back to normal as he could possibly be, because there's a chance he'll never be normal again. But as good as we can make it, why not do it then? As long as we can keep Aoyama separated and we can keep him in a frame of mind so that he doesn't fall too far away, then why not? We definitely have to deal with this evil. All for One's evil. We have to deal with this evil man. He's past man, like this evil entity. We have to deal with him. Genuinely, it'd be a waste of time to try to save Aoyama with All for One still being out there. A waste of time. Because All for One is a man of his word. He's a man of his word. He's a man of his word. Come on. Like, he's a man of his word. You think it once he finds out, it's a wrap for Aoyama. It's a wrap. Come on, man. I just can't understand how any reasonable adult in this situation would even include Aoyama in this nonsense. And again, I'm not a shonen character. I agree. They have to assume that All for One knows that Aoyama was found out. Let me get off my soapbox. I totally agree. Not once have I said we need to discard Aoyama. He needs to be forgotten forever. No. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about right now. We don't have the time to deal with Aoyama right now. It's like, I sympathize with Aoyama, but Aoyama's responsible for a lot of things. All right, let me continue. I'll have to rip out that fear that's taken root in him by force. You will fight. It's the only thing you can do. Next page. I know all is lost unless we win this. I know that. To achieve victory, I must now be a pawn for our side. just like them as their equal. I understand all that. Maybe we are no different than All for One. That's definitely the case. When it comes to how we intend to use you, that said, I won't allow you to slink off haunted by those sins and die a pathetic, quiet death. Not as long as I'm a hero course teacher and you're my student. I still have no intention of expelling you, because none of the lessons I teach my students are about living a life burdened by guilt. As ashamed and despicable as you feel, you will walk alongside the friends who still reach out to you. We will protect you. Ooh, we get that. Oh, that hurt. I guarantee it. Stick with them and you'll be okay. And he's been reaffirmed. But what can a single miscreant like me even accomplish? Of course he's still scared. Anyone would be. You're not the only one I'm putting on this path, which is why we get a nice little bubbly hey. It's time. Let's go. This boy's hanging like Spider-Man. That path is one we all walk together. The story of how we all became heroes, part 3. Gotcha. This boy hanging like Spider-Man. It's like, it still doesn't make sense. What's up, Cyber? And it will never make sense to me whatsoever. Like, they're gonna that's why I'm saying, like, they're gonna use Aoyama, and I just have a feeling they're gonna use Aoyama. The way they use Aoyama is probably gonna end up being successful. All that stuff, cool. It's manga, it's anime, it's shonen. That's gonna happen. That stuff is bound to happen in them series. Whatever. When it happens. Cool. It'll happen. Let's move on. But just realistically, like, if you really put everything on the table, if you truly put everything on the table, Aoyama is a situation that you deal with at the conclusion of everything. They've made it abundantly clear that we have a week and we can't waste time. And I am saying that. Don't waste time with Aoyama. Clearly they're putting all this effort into Aoyama to pick his spirits up and all of this stuff. They're putting all of this effort into him because, like, they want him to be a part of the class again, to fight alongside of them. Thank you. To fight alongside of them, all that stuff. That's what they're doing, which to me just feels nuts. What really doesn't make sense, how Shinzo's hanging from a tree branch by a cloth wrapped around his neck, and he managed not to hang himself. I'm gonna cop him some bail. His feet, and he's holding on to it. He's holding on to the cloth. So I'm trying to shoot him bail. I can't shoot him bail. We know the cloth it's different cloth. I think this is just a testament to how much better he is with it. I think that's what that's the conclusion I'll get from it. But I think it's nuts. I think it's crazy. I completely understand why all Class A feels the way they feel. They've been through so much together. They live together. They do all these things together. They've gone through traumatic events together. So their bond is so strong. It's so strong. So when Adeku reveals his situation to his class and he leaves, they all come together. That bond they have grows even more, and they track him down and they bring him back. Cool. So you have this situation where Aoyama is the traitor. We find out he's the traitor. You find out that he's been manipulated and everything by All for One and the class because he's been their friend, and they can see the plight that he's in. That bond then comes together again. They come together. They want to bring him back. so that he can be their friend again. And it's like I appreciate that. I think it's dope that as kids they can look at this kid and see that he's been taken advantage of and been used. I appreciate that. Cool, whatever. Eventually I would get there. I'm on the same, I feel the same way that when we got the first panel of Bakugo. I'd feel that way. Like everything you done did, like you did all this. It's like I still don't agree with the comparisons with Deku just because they both were quirkless. Still don't agree. It's like they were using Deku's situation and them coming together and bringing him back, and to compare to coming together with Aoyama and bringing him back, it's completely different. Right? It gets completely different. Deku left them. He left them to do something on his own. And whether or not you want to argue if he should have done that or not, he did that. Aoyama is directly responsible for a number of things that have happened in society and happened to this class. The reason why they live in dorms is because Aoyama snitched them out to All For One. The reason why Bakugo got taken is because Aoyama snitched them out to All For One. A reason why a lot of these things happen, seriously, the early things in this series that was very traumatic to these 14 and 15-year-old kids was directly because of Aoyama, even though he was being influenced, even though he was being manipulated. He's directly responsible. Directly. So it's like I understand it. I sympathize. But we can't just look at him and you can't do that. You can't do that. Because what they're really doing, if Tsukauchi wasn't so persistent, what they're really saying is that, oh, just because All For One did what he did, he deserves no punishment. No, you still deserve the punishment. Because you could have said no, and that it would have, saying no is basically suicide. He would have died. His parents would have died. But the option, he could have not done it. He did it. Self-preservation, he did it. There still needs to be consequences, and they don't want any consequences for him. They don't. They just want him to come back and be a part of Class A. Not possible, but it's a shonen. He'll get pardoned. He'll be back in Class A. that's what'll happen if there's a UA that's still standing after all this. I agree. Bakugo should have smoked the one principal. I feel like it should have been a bigger deal because Aoyama is directly responsible for some of the trauma. He's directly responsible for a lot of the trauma Bakugo faced around the Kamino incident. Bakugo literally had a mental breakdown fighting Deku. Literally had a mental breakdown. Quite literally. And the only thing that could really bring him back to code was actually fighting. That's it. Only thing that could bring him back to code was fighting. He no more words. He needed to fight because he felt like he was responsible for All Might not being All Might anymore. And why did All Might have to use everything he had? Why did he have to do it? Because they were invaded at the summer camp and Bakugo got taken. That's why. And who let them know? Aoyama. So it's like yes, Aoyama didn't want to do any of these things. He wasn't malicious and doing all of these things, but he still did it. So tough situation. I don't see it either. That's the thing I'm not buying. I feel like it would completely. I just feel like if Aoyama was literally, if Aoyama is the reason. See this. I don't know. It's just, All For One, in the Battle of Camino, All For One didn't plan on losing. He still deserves to go to jail, Madman. Whether you want to believe it or not, he still deserves to go to jail. If me, Madman, if me and you get in a car and we go somewhere, right? And I'm in the passenger seat and you're driving. And I tell you to go to the convenience store. And I look at you and I'm like, I'll be back in a second. And I get out the car. Right? And I walk in the store. I rob the store, shoot the guy behind the counter, and I run out and I get in the car and I'd be like, yo, let's go, let's get out of here. And you drive off. You didn't do a damn thing but drive. Guess what? When they catch us both, you're gonna have to dime me out and you still gonna get some time. You're not walking away from this. You're an accomplice. So yes, Aoyama was manipulated into diming out everything, into being a traitor, manipulated from the age of 4. Manipulated from the age of 4 or 5 or however old he was. Manipulated. Guess what? He still did it. Maybe you don't have to come down on him as harsh as you would if he was malicious and he was the actual person to come up with this idea. But he still has to get a consequence for this, because there always is the option of he could have not done it. Yes, it would mean death, but he still could have not done it. That was an option. He had an option to not tell. He would have died. His parents would have died. Yes. So he did do it. He still needs to be punished for that. His trauma can't be time served. I don't think you get off like that. No way. There's no way that his trauma is going to be time served. No way. No possible way. Nope. There's no possible way. There's no way that you give his trauma time served. Nah. He still has to get some sort of punishment. But it's a shonen, so if he doesn't end up dying, his trauma will be time served. He'll probably end up in UA because they'll understand if there's still a UA left. All that stuff, it's gonna, like, that'll happen. UA will be happy. Class A will be happy if no one ends up biting the dust. That it's a shonen. That's what'll happen. I really thought that I at the end of I didn't watch anything yet. I left church, I came home and streamed, and I got to get off now because it's my niece's birthday party, so we're getting ready to go ice skating. So I'm about to get off in a second. Easily. And you know what I genuinely feel? In the same place as Muscular Moonfish. Nah, it's really because he was young. I'm defending this and that. It was 100% his fam. He still did it. You're missing the point. He still did it. Aoyama has agency. Aoyama's he's old enough to make his own decisions. Just like he was fighting his parents in the forest, he didn't want to do it, and they were begging him to do it. He has the agency and the wherewithal to say yes or no. He knows right and wrong, and that's what was eating him up inside. But guess what? He was still doing it. He's still doing it. Like, it's to the point where he knows he was wrong and he still was doing it because he didn't want to die and he didn't want his family to die. Yes, I completely sympathize with him. Completely do. Absolutely. Like I feel for him. I genuinely do. I genuinely feel for Aoyama. And I wouldn't want anyone to be in that situation. But he's in that situation. And guess what? There's no way you could just walk scot-free away from that. That's crazy to me. That sounds crazy to me. The fact that they're using him, that they're even thinking about using him is crazy to me. It's All For One doesn't have one mode of operation. He doesn't. And just because, all right, he has not everything that was happening with Nagant is not happening with Aoyama. So now they're just acting like everything is peachy and like it's cool. No, we don't know this dude's mode of operations. Just because Aoyama's not gonna blow up, guess what? It doesn't mean that X, Y, and Z can't happen. You don't know. You don't know. You have no idea. You have no idea. None whatsoever. None whatsoever. Like, they found out Aoyama was a traitor around the same time Shigaraki killed the #1 hero of the world. And they're blown away by that. They're like, Shigaraki's so much stronger than we ever imagined. And then they're like, yeah, we're going to use Aoyama. It's like, come on, man. I feel like if my hero, I don't know. Who knows what the series would be if it wasn't by Jump. I think it'd be much darker. I feel like Horror would be, he'd have the ability to do truly whatever he wanted to do with the series. In the same place as Moon, no way. And Muscular and Moonfish were in Tartarus. 1 second, y'all. Hold on. All right. Nah, like Muscular and Moonfish were in Tartarus, and there was, like, we do know there's like a bunch of other jails and stuff. There's like 7 or 8 other jails that were in Japan. So not in the same place as Muscular and Moonfish. No way. They deserve Tartarus. Aoyama doesn't deserve Tartarus. I'd probably stick him in Tartarus because he was a pawn of All For One, but he doesn't deserve Tartarus. They'd eat him alive in there. Like, if they do end up making a new Tartarus or something. But there has to be there has to be like some sort of juvenile detention center they could stick him in. And then work through his trauma and bring him back into society. I was gonna say something, I forgot. Oh, something about yeah, I didn't watch Demon Slayer yet. I didn't get to watch Attack on Titan yet. I was glad I was able to read this really quick. There's a bunch of stuff I want to watch today. I'm not gonna be able to. Sure, this guy is saying heavily, but hold on. Sure, this guy's just saying heavily, but yeah, like we got to see behind the door of Gentle, and like Gentle he did petty crimes. Gentle was doing petty crimes, like robbing stores, doing stuff like that. But he really truly wanted to be a hero at heart. Like, even Gentle went to jail. He didn't go to Tartarus. Did go to jail though. Like he broke the law at the end of the day. It's like it feels unfair to pin all of this on Aoyama because he was manipulated. It feels unfair. That's why it feels like disgusting when you say all these things. But at the end of the day, like, Aoyama, like that's what the whole, when he got caught, he was fighting it, and it doesn't seem like it was the first time either. It feels like his parents always had to convince him to do it, which means he's always known that what he was doing was wrong, meaning he knows what right and wrong is, and at any point he could have said no. Yes, it would, like, it's not self-preservation. That's why I'm like, it's not logical for him to say no, because that means he just doesn't want to live anymore, doesn't care about his family, wants them to die. So saying that, but at the end of the day, that's still an option. That is still an option. I know what I was going to say. It's still an option to say no and to not do that. I think what would have been even a crazier story beat than finding out who the traitor is actually having Aoyama out himself and explaining exactly what was happening to him. We're absolutely gonna have this debate every other week. I feel like a crazy wow. A crazy plot twist. Twat. A crazy plot twist would have been yeah, exactly, husband. That was exactly what I was saying. Like, it's like you don't have to come down on him super duper hard. You don't have to come down on him super hard. So it's like, and this whole thing where it's like you don't want to hang the world on him. You don't want to hang the world on Aoyama, because Aoyama wasn't the originator of the plan. He wasn't the mastermind. But if there was a prosecutor and a defendant, and Aoyama was the defendant, and if I was a prosecutor that really wanted Aoyama to get max time, I would lead off my opening statement with like, Aoyama was the reason why thousands of people were hurt and killed in a cataclysmic battle between All Might and the criminal known as All for One, leading in the destruction of a part of an entire city and the loss of our number one hero. All Aoyama did was tell All for One that where they were having summer camp at. But if you go down the chain of events, that's what that led to. You can hang that on Aoyama and put him in a box under the ground and let him rot. You could. I don't even remember what I was saying. I don't even remember what I was saying. So, the last thing I was gonna mention. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? I was muting myself. I was talking to someone else. I don't even remember where I was going. Completely I had my chain of thought broken. So last thing I was mentioning, last week when All Might said this. Last week All Might said this. He said this. So about our plan B, let's review the key info about the other battle that could decide it all. I thought it was going to be something crazy, right? I thought it was going to be something super duper crazy, but it really was just him setting up the final arc. Us getting a bunch of 1v1s for the final arc. So I'm like, we were going like very grandiose, very, very grandiose in what we were thinking, but it was just it was just 1v1 battles. That's what I was saying. Also pretty sure All for One just kill him. He probably would turn him into a Nomu. Nah, it's good as dead. Being a Nomu is good as being dead. So I don't even remember what. I don't know. All right. I'm gonna get up out of here, you guys. So I feel like I was going somewhere. I probably wasn't. I probably wasn't, but I appreciate you guys. I really do. We'll be back here next Sunday for 341, which I'm excited for. Where did this chapter leave off? It left off with so we're probably gonna get to see like Shiketsu and some of the other stuff. It's coming to the end. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It's coming to the end. Hori said Hori had what's his name? I don't remember. I don't know. Deku's voice actor. He had him read at Jump Festa that My Hero would be ending this year, and if it doesn't end this year, it'll just end next year. He'll have him go back up there and read a little statement saying that it will be done this year again. So I feel like by the time it's spring, I have a feeling we'll know if it's ending this year or not. Like, so by the time like March, April, May, around that time, spring for me, I should say, around that time, we should be able to see like if we're really like if final battles are already starting, then I feel like we would know. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for hanging out with me. We'll be back here next Monday. No, next Sunday. I'm all over the place. Have a good one. I'll see you guys. And if you have tomorrow off, enjoy it if you're in the States. So peace out.